Everybody, welcome back to Shoulda Cashed Out. Today we're going to do some roulette, and I was going to show off one of our strategies. It's basically cutting the wheel in half. So it's going to be four different bets, four different ways to cut the wheel in half, and our trigger will be two location misses. Then we'll start putting our bets. But for right now, I'm going to demonstrate how the four different bets are. We're on Jack Ace. It's a bet analyzer, which is a terrific tool to use if you're trying to figure out betting strategies for roulette. So the first one that we've shown a few times is betting around the greens. So we're going to cut the wheel in half right around the green numbers. Right there. As you can see, all these greens are winners and all the reds are losers. So that's the first way we're going to cut the wheel in half. The other way is going to be the opposite. We're going to cover these middle red sections. So how we do that is we're going to bet there, the 5-8, the 4-7, 15-18, 17-16, 21-20, 19-22. We're also going to cover the 23-24, and you'll notice it's covered in both bets. Then our final two bets right there. So now we've got the middle section of the wheel covered. All right, now the last two bets, we're going to cut the wheel from the zeros in half. So we're going to cover the zeros, and then we're going to alternate our bet like this in this pattern. It's a little tricky when you get to the middle. You're going to do like this. Right there. See? We've cut the wheel directly in half. Now, to play the other half, guess what? We're just going to fill in these other numbers. So once again, we'll start at the zeros, but this time we'll start at the 2 and then alternate. And then here in the middle, we're going to cover these outside red ones. And then we go back to our alternating pattern. So the easiest way, if you figure out this double street right here, then you can just spread out and do the alternating pattern from there. But as you can see, we've cut the wheel in half on this side. So four different bets, four different ways to cut the wheel in half. Let's jump onto the simulator and let's give it a go. It's going. All right, here we go. We'll do just a dollar, and let's see here. We've got a 14 and a 16. Okay, so straight away we've got a trigger that we can go on the opposite, which that's not right. There we go. That is accurate. Now alternating like such. All right, let's get a win. We got half the wheel covered, 20 numbers. A little more than half, actually. 8, that's a miss. Okay, so let's rebet, double. We'll pretend we have a $500 bankroll and let's try to win, I don't know, 75, 100 bucks. We're not off to a good start here. We are $60 down in the hole. That should be a win. There's our winner. We're only up $4. Not ideal, but I think there was several numbers on the other half of the wheel, so let's stay on this half of the wheel. I feel like it's going to hit again. So there we go, there we go, there we go, and there we go. Oh, it almost did. Almost went to that 28. All right, let's rebet and double. There we go. There's our winner. All right, looking at the wheel, we've got some around the green, so let's cut the wheel in half down the middle. We're up $16. So let's cut the wheel in half. Oh, it'll be in the middle of the wheel that we're cutting the wheel in half. There we go, there we go. And final two bets. All right, we got the middle section on both sides of the wheel covered. There's our winner. All right, looking at what we've got to work with now. We're up 24. Let's see here. 5, 3, 30. They're on the same half of the wheel. So we could go on the other half of the wheel. There we go. There we go. I know this betting pattern seems confusing, but I'll try to put it up on the screen to help y'all understand what we're trying to accomplish. There's our winner. We're up $40. So looking at the numbers, okay, so those are in the middle sections of the wheel on either side. So we'll just go on around the zeros. There's that, and that. There we go. All right, something around the zeros. There's our winner. All right, looking at the wheel now. Okay, there's nothing there. So there's not really a trigger because the 8 is away from the zeros. And the 36 is near the zeros, but it's also different on the side half of the wheels than the 8. So we don't really have a trigger. So in this case, we'll just bet $1 on red. I like to wait for 2 misses in one half of the wheel. Okay, so 36. So we're going to have a trigger now. So we can go on the opposite half of the wheel of the 36. There we go. All right, we're on the opposite half of the wheel as the 36. All right, there's a miss. We're just going to rebet, double. Let's go. There's our winner. Up $61. Let's take a look at what we've got. So, 29 is near the zeros. 22 is not near the zeros. They're on different sides of the wheel also. So we don't really have a trigger. So let's just bet $1 on black. There's another one around the zeros. So we've got our trigger because the 12 is around the 0 and the 29 is around the 0. So we're going to play the middle numbers that are away from the 0. There we go. All right, let's get it. That's a winner. That's why I'll always, you'll see in both of those, a couple of the strategies, I always bet the 23-24 split. It's just kind of the halfway point when you cut the wheel in half like that. All right, so we got $68. 23 and 12. Are they? Yep, they're on the same half. So what we can do is we can go on the other half of the wheel. So we've got our trigger. There we go. So if you notice, so 23 is on the half, and then 12, but also 29. So we have 3 misses on the other half of the wheel. So now's a really good time to bet it. Okay, that's actually 4 misses in a row on that, on the other half of the wheel. So we'll just rebet double. Okay, that's 5 misses on the other half of the wheel. Oh man, that's 6 straight misses on the other half of the wheel. That should be our winner. There we go. So we lost a little bit of ground there, but there was so many misses, so we're gonna stay on that half of the wheel. So I think there was 6 misses that went onto the other half of the wheel. So let's stay on this half. Try to get a win. Let's miss again. Rebet, double, let's go. Wow. That other side of the half of the wheel is hot right now. Still hot. All right. This is where it's a little nerve-wracking. All right, there's our win. It's ridiculous. We lost ground again, but that's okay. Let's take a look at what all we've got. I still think that other half of the wheel is going to hit. Because it was like 10 out of the last 11 were on that other half of the wheel. So let's go. Let's get it. I think that's our win. All right. So we're back to 60. Let's cut the wheel in half in the middle now. There we go. Let's get it. There's a winner. Looks good. We're at 68. Where does 31? It's opposite of 30. So let's just wait for a trigger. There we go. Seven. Where does that land? There. Okay, 7's on the opposite side of 31. It's in the middle of the wheel, so we need to play around the zeros. So we have our trigger. There we go. All right, something around the zeros. There's our win. All right, we're at 75 bucks. Let's go a little bit more. Let's try to get to that 100. All right, so the 2 and the 7 are opposite sides of the wheel. We need another trigger, so let's just do $1 on black. That's near the zeros again, so we have our trigger. So we're going to go away from the zeros. There we go. Let's get it. That's a miss. Rebet double. There we go. Something in the middle section of the wheel on either side. That's a miss. Bet double. Let's go. Mm-mm-mm. Now it just wants to hug the zero, so let's get after it again. More zeros. There's our winner. 54, we went down some. Let's, there are 36 and 20 on the same side of the wheel, so let's go on the opposite side of the wheel. There we go. All right, 20 numbers. And we'll double, spin. Okay, I think that's our win. Yep. All right. 58. We still got work to do. In a session like this at the casino, with it just struggling and fighting, I would have already cashed out probably at the 75. But let's keep going. We need a trigger, so let's just do $1 on black. Go. 35. Let's take a look at what we've got. Okay, that's on the same side as the 2, so we can go on the opposite side. There we go. We're on the opposite side of the wheel of the 35 and the 2. So let's get it. That's a winner. Back to that $75 mark. So let's just rebet and spin. Since we didn't get actually on that half of the wheel since we got the 0. There we go. $91. We need one more win maybe. So we got the 0, so we can go on the middle side of the wheel that's away from the greens. There we go. Let's get it. This will be an $8 win if we get it. Didn't get it. We're gonna rebet and double. Away from the zeros. There it is. There's our win. And that puts us $3 away from our goal. So let's take a look at what we got. Okay, we don't have a trigger. So let's just bet $1 on red. Alright. Let's see here. 7 and 19 are away from the zeros. So let's go close to the zeros. There we go. Get this win. We're at our win goal. There it is. There's our win. All right, 106. But I mean, there was times where we had to really double our bankroll or double our bet, and then we fell and then had to fight back. In that situation, like I said, I would have cashed out it when we were at 75, or that last swing when we recovered back to 58, I probably would have cashed out there. But purpose of the video, we kept going to see how the strategies would do. And this has been cut the wheel in half. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll definitely try it out at the casino, and let me know if you like it or not, and I'll do my best to put the different bets on the screen so that y'all are able to follow along. So, till next time, be excellent to each other.